I am considering breaking up with my girlfriend over her extreme lack of self-esteem that is just unbearable. Am I wrong for this? So, my girlfriend, 24F, and I, 23M, have been together for about 2.5 years. She's my first official girlfriend, but before we got together, I'd had a few casual things, nothing serious, just short flings or one-night situations. For her, though, I'm not just her first boyfriend, I'm her first everything. First love, first relationship, first real emotional anchor. Very early on, I realized she struggled with self-confidence. And I don't mean regular insecurity, the kind everyone feels sometimes. I'm talking about extreme levels, the type of insecurity that makes someone question their worth at every tiny moment. I'm talking about the kind that seeps into every corner of a person's day. If you imagine the most self-conscious person you've ever met, my girlfriend is probably more insecure than that. At first, I didn't mind. Honestly, I thought I could handle it. I thought being patient and reassuring was just part of being a good partner. But slowly, very slowly, it became mentally exhausting. It started to weigh on me in ways I didn't expect. There's reassurance, and then there's constantly having to catch someone emotionally every time they trip over the smallest thing. Before anyone says it, yes, being supportive is normal, but there is definitely a point where it crosses into something almost unsustainable. After only a few months into our relationship, I was already questioning if I had the emotional strength for this long term. Her lack of confidence affects everything. If I compliment her, she either brushes it off saying, "Stop saying things just to make me feel good," or she'll say, "Thank you," but I can see in her eyes she doesn't believe a word of it. The compliment doesn't reach her, it bounces off. But if I tell her something bothered me, or that something she did wasn't right, she doesn't just listen and move on. She sinks into it. She lets it swallow her whole. She repeats the mistake in her mind until it becomes part of her identity. Sometimes she'll even say things like, "I need to remember I'm just a piece of shit." Hearing that from someone you love is heartbreaking. It feels like trying to hold someone together who keeps pulling themselves apart. She also has this deep resentment about my past, especially my previous experiences with girls. One girl in particular, someone I was briefly but intensely in love with years before. My girlfriend brings her up constantly. She says she feels like because I once loved someone before her, she isn't really my first. She says it's unfair that she gave me all her firsts while I had a past. But I can't change the fact that I lived a life before I met her. I can't rewrite history to make her feel better. We're both teachers, and it breaks my heart that even at work, she never sees the good she does. She'll replay her entire day in her head afterwards, searching for anything she did wrong, not to improve, not to grow, but to confirm her own negative beliefs about herself.
She doesn't notice the wins or the effort she puts in or the ways she inspires her students. She only sees failure where there is none. Decision making? That's another struggle. She can't choose anything. Not a meal, not whether she wants to come over, not even a phone case without asking 3 people for their opinions. If she wants to visit me, she'll ask, "Do you want me to come over tonight?" I'll say, "If you want to, come. If you don't, don't." And she'll respond, "No, you have to choose. I can't decide." Or worse, I'll ask my mom. And this is for everything, every tiny detail. Imagine living with someone who can't choose dinner without outsourcing the decision. It's draining, and it scares me because I genuinely don't know how she would manage living alone. I've told her so many times that she needs real help from a therapist who can guide her out of this mindset, but she refuses, saying therapy is a waste of money. Meanwhile, I spent hundreds of hours trying to reassure her over and over again, and nothing has changed. If anything, the burden is heavier. And here's the part that hurts. I feel myself losing interest, slowly, quietly, in ways I never wanted to. Part of me believes that if I broke up with her, I'd finally be able to breathe, to take care of myself, to rest, to not feel like I'm carrying 2 emotional lives on my shoulders. But another part of me is terrified of that idea, because I do love her, and she's my first real committed relationship. She's already talking about moving in together next summer because I'm going to be working in another country close to her border. She's talking about buying stuff gradually for our future home. And I'm sitting here writing this, feeling guilty, feeling torn, and feeling like I'm living a double life. The outside where I smile and plan, and the inside where I feel overwhelmed, exhausted, and unsure. I've voiced my concerns again and again. Nothing changes. I feel drained. Being with someone whose entire outlook is driven by fear and self-loathing takes a toll. I feel myself fading in this relationship, but the idea of leaving her also feels painful and complicated. I keep thinking, what if every relationship has problems? What if I'm giving up on something that could get better? I'm lost. I really am. I need to know, does my perspective make sense? Am I being reasonable, or am I wrong for feeling this way?